My name is Aisha Farooq and I am a student of BSIR from batch 3. So my question here from you is, will security ever have a proper boundary or definition? As we know that the threats keep on changing, so can we hope that one day we can have a defined boundary in context of security? As in the start, you said that security does not have a proper definition. In all these years and all these centuries, can we hope that in the next few centuries, because wars will be fought and everything like that, can we hope that we can one day have a proper definition and a bar for which we have to look towards to see that this is how you curtail your context for security?
That's a good one as well. Yes, I mean, here it depends what your political views are. If you're a realist, your view is, well, security is very easy to define. Yeah, it's a military security threat, a military attack, and as a result of that, I have the answer in terms of how to deal with that. So realists can actually define it relatively easily. But the problem is that there's no political and academic theoretical agreement on that. The realists can define it easily because they're making the concept very small. In their idea, security is something very easy to define. It's a military threat. It's a military threat to the state. But once you don't agree with that definition, once you say, well, actually, security issues are much broader, the security dynamics are happening at many different levels. How many new security scholars, in a sense, would argue that the situation is, at that particular moment, it becomes a political debate almost. What is a security issue and what isn't? Some people will agree with that, some people won't agree with that. And because it becomes a political debate, therefore, we're unlikely to find full agreement everywhere. Like we don't. In no democracy in the world has full agreement on everything. So this, even in fact, totally totalitarian dictatorships also don't have full agreement on absolutely everything, as you can probably see throughout history. So when there is many human beings in the room, you could just try and do that as an experiment in the room and just see if you could find a political agreement just on one issue, just amongst everybody in the room, and you will probably find that you can't, because people will have different views. They are sometimes similar views, and they will share a number of things, but they won't necessarily agree on absolutely everything. And that's the problem with security, that in a sense, you won't get people to agree on absolutely everything. Maybe somebody will agree that security is more than military, but they won't agree, let's say, that health is also part of security, because they don't agree maybe that COVID-19 exists, you know? So there's different aspects of the debate that are ultimately political. And in that sense, it's very difficult to have 100% agreement. I think you can, over time, get more agreement on more issues, but full agreement, I think that will probably be too ambitious. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christian, for the answer. We've got one more question here.
Hi, Christian. My name is Hala Malik. I'm student of International Relations, batch 002. So my question is, what role does the securitization of non-traditional security threats such as cyber warfare, climate change, plays in shaping the dynamics of transforming international order in the 21st century? Thank you.
Yes, I think.
Have you got the question?
Thank you. Yeah, I think so. I think securitization of all of those issues is obviously something that happens. It's something that occurs, and it occurs within the broader geopolitical environment that we have. So this is something that, of course, the tectonic, right? We see that when it comes to power. We see that in terms of great power competition and so on. But a securitization brings in an interesting dynamic of this, because of course it means that different issues ultimately can be perceived as a security threat at different times. So what that means is, in a sense, some people have argued that you can nowadays weaponize everything or anything in our modern world, whether that is, you know, issues that are purely of a political nature, whether that is the social media, whether that is the internet and so on. All of those issues can be somehow weaponized in some shape or form, and our security, in a sense, agenda is becoming so broad and so complicated that it needs a lot of people to study it. So I'm really very hopeful for all of you that having chosen this to study this, you will find good, in a sense, jobs afterwards, and you'll be much sought after. So I'm trying to see a positive in this.
Hello. I have a question. As you have discussed that audience usually provide legitimacy to the securitizing issue. So what if the audience is not convinced, and does the issue dissolve by itself, or there is some other legitimizing actor?
Yes, I mean, if the audience doesn't approve of this being a security issue, normally what is then happening is that it's not dealt with as a security issue. I'll give you an example. If, let's say, you had the WHO insisting that, COVID-19 is not a security issue, then many countries might have found it very, very difficult to deal with COVID-19 in the way in which they dealt with it, which is with extraordinary legal measures, because their national constitution might not have allowed this, because people might have gone to court and would have said, look, this is not a security issue. You can't lock me in my house, right? So if the audience doesn't accept it, if the audience is unconvinced, then the following measures can't follow. The kind of extraordinary measures that usually come with security issues, they can't happen then. Now, that doesn't mean that the securitizing actor is giving up then, right? Securitizing actor might still make arguments and may eventually convince the audience, at which point the securitizing actor may then introduce those measures. But until the audience isn't convinced, until the audience isn't persuaded, using these extraordinary legal measures is usually not granted by legal systems, is therefore not possible, is therefore much, much more complicated, and therefore it's dealt with essentially as a normal political issue would be.
Hello, my name is Komal, and my question is, the defensive measures of one state can cause serious threat to other states. Then in what context mutual contribution of actors can ensure security in the 21st century, which is a serious challenge of all? Thank you.
So the question, as I understood it, I'll repeat it, but maybe you correct me if I misunderstood it, is in terms of the defensive posture of one state, how much does it cause problems for other states, right? Is that roughly correct? Yeah?
Yeah, almost. This is the question.
Okay. So in a sense, because some people would argue we're in a kind of international society, we are, in fact, different actors out there. So I think it is very, very clear that, of course, as you say, one action of one actor has implications on the other actors. And ultimately, security is what I said earlier. It is also about perceptions. It is about the intentions of actors and so on. So the way in which actors behave, whether they intend to become aggressive or not. But if the perception is that they are, if the perception is that we now need to defend ourselves, then there's clearly insecurity that derives from that. And that is, in a sense, what all of the security actors need to be aware of. And that is something that we're trying to, in a sense, reducing that level of insecurity when we analyze security. So that's what we're hoping to do anyway.
Thank you, Christian, for your question. We've got some more questions if you still have some time to talk about them.
I have another 4 minutes.
Pardon?
I have another
4 minutes.
4 minutes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, then I'll be quick. So we've got a question from a student named Numan, and he's asking, as the war in Ukraine have shattered the existing security arrangements and order in Europe, how do you see a new security order emerging and how that arrangement will incorporate Ukraine, a NATO ally, or security guarantee?
Yes, I think that's a very important